walkthrough of my TradingView pre-market screener. And I know I've done one of these before, but I'm just doing it again for you all because the first one I did was very, very short. It was like under 60 seconds and it was hard to follow. So I'm doing this for you guys pretty much to go over exactly the same stuff, but also a few different added features. So let's jump right into it. We're going to head over to the products tab, screeners and stock, and then come over to the column set up in the top right. We're going to add the same thing we did before, the pre-market change for open percentage. And we're going to take it and we're just going to slide it over to the left so it's easy for us to use. And then we're gonna hit it, right? So we're just gonna hit it and see what happens. So let's tap it and we'll see that a lot of different tickers are coming up over here, right? We have SOBR, Crown Electronics, OLMA, tickers that you've probably never heard before. And the reason why you never heard of it before is because some of the actual volume, the pre-market volume is really, really low. These are tickers that you can't really trade because they don't have liquid option chains or even option chains at all. They might not even have physical options to trade. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add tickers to make it show only large stocks. And to do this, we're gonna do the same thing we did before again. We're gonna add the market capitalization over 10 billion, right? So it's gonna show 10 billion to 2 trillion. And then what we're also gonna do is we're gonna add the regular volume to be over 1 million. And then from here, we're going to then add the last filter, which is going to be pre-market volume over 100,000, because we don't just want a zero volume move. We want to see actual volume pre-market as well as its normal trading day, right? So now we have this, and we also have it still sorted by strong stocks. So when you see this, right, what does this actually mean? What is this actually telling us, right? Well, it's telling us these are strong stocks. Why are these strong stocks? Because they are strong pre-market. So you'll notice that there is a very, very direct correlation between stock strong pre-market. Stock is also strong during the regular trading day, right? Because of that correlation, that is why I use a screener to look for stocks that are relatively strong or relatively weak, right? So if we were watching upside today, right? Obviously today there was very little upside, right? There's very little upside movement today. But if there was upside on a day like today, where SPY made almost a full percentage move down, well, we will be looking for stocks that were relatively strong. And to do that, we're using the screener, looking for tickers like Meta and Snap and Apple for potential long positions today, right? So if the market held up today, I would be looking for these tickers for upside. Whereas if the market was weak today, I would be looking for tickers like PayPal, right? Tickers like AMD, tickers like Microsoft for downside, right? So this is often, you'll notice there's a lot of similarities between what's on this pre-market scanner and my watch list for the day. Because at the end of the day, we want to be trading tickers that are weaker or stronger than SPY, right? Because if you're just trading a ticker that matches SPY, you might as well just trade SPY, right? So we're basically using the screener to look for stocks that are either very strong or very weak. Now, that being said, there are a couple other things you can do to sort of complement this filter and make it even stronger. And what you can do is add this one filter called relative volume, right? So add relative volume, and this is gonna this relative volume sort of filter allows you to sort of filter out stocks that don't have a lot of volume on the day relative to what they usually have on the day, right? So if Apple is if let's say for example, if Ford has a 1.5 relative volume, that would indicate that it's trading 50% more volume than it usually does on a daily basis. Why is it 50%? Because of 1.5, so 1.5 times. Whereas a ticker like Grab, right, GRAB, is trading at 0.81, that would imply that it's trading 19% less than it usually trades on a daily basis. So what you can do is you can add a relative volume filter. And what I usually do is I will set it to be above or equal to 1.2, right? You can do 1.15 or 1.2. Either are totally fine. And what this would do for you is obviously it's going to show you tickers that are trading 20% more volume than it usually is trading, right? So these are stocks that are going to be moving quite a bit on the day. So you'll notice here again, NVIDIA, PayPal, these are two tickers I both played today for downside continuation moves, right? These tickers both had relative volume, right? They both have decent relative volume, and they are moving decently pre-market, right? And when I'm saying they're moving decently pre-market, you might see, well, wow, okay, well, NVIDIA was pretty strong pre-market. Well, not really, because SPY was strong pre-market. SPY had made a decent sized move pre-market. So if you look at SPY pre-market, you'd see SPY was actually holding pretty strongly on the pre-market session. And despite SPY holding strongly in the pre-market session, Nvidia, right, was selling off, right, or was actually was sort of holding, right, but still selling off, but sort of holding, right. It only moved up 0.06%, whereas SPY made almost a $2 move pre-market. So that's what we're looking for here. We're looking for relatively weak stocks. We're also looking for stocks that have decent relative volume. Okay, so I know I probably sound like a broken record now, but there is one other thing we can do intraday. What we can do intraday is we can, instead of sorting by pre-market, change from open percentage, we can do is we can just short by the change in the day, right? So let's get rid of the relative volume filter, and we're going to reset this, right? And now we're just going to change, but we're just going to look for change, right? So just overall change on the day, not pre-market, not after hours, just on the day. Okay. Now you'll see here that these are the tickers that move the most, and you'll actually see, wow, there's a lot of similarities between what we saw on the last screener to now, right? These tickers are moving the most. Well, Oxy, Lucid, Grab, Neo, Nvidia, PayPal, right? These are all tickers we saw on the pre-market chain screener. That being said, you could use this intraday after like 11 o'clock, after 10:30, to look for stocks that are moving the most on the day, right? So you would see today, well, Microsoft is moving decently. So you could have looked for a downside on Microsoft, right? Microsoft would have been a very, very solid downside play below this 232 or even below 230, right? You would have noticed that pretty quickly if you use the regular change for the day. You could have also seen that Shop or Lucid or Oxy was moving to the downside aggressively, right? These are things that you want to look for. Now you would see Oxy here. Oxy was actually strong pre-market and then sold off throughout the day. This does happen, right? You do have things that sort of diverge from what we look for. That's not what we look for. Typically speaking, we want to see weak pre-market, also weak on the day. This was probably something to do with oil news, and that does happen, or energy news, and that does happen. So just keep that in mind. But usually there's a direct correlation between pre-market change and its change in the day. So that's what we're looking for. That's a screener I use. I don't want to overcomplicate this for you guys. Basically, we're just using this screener to look for stocks that are moving the most pre-market, right? Whether it's strong or weak, we want to go with the direction of SPY, but we want to trade tickers that move more so than SPY, if that makes sense. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Tag me in the chat, and I'll be happy to help you guys out and answer whatever you guys have. So let me know.